Welcome to another episode of the Optimized Equine Podcast. I'm your host, Tamara Lee Barrett, and today I'm joined by my friend Rachel for a conversation that I think will resonate with many of you. This impromptu chat was inspired by a Facebook post from Piper Clem. I'll put a link to that in the show notes. The post really hit home for both of us. It perfectly captured that feeling so many horse people experience. That feeling when you're standing there with your horse knowing you should change your approach, but feeling completely lost about where to start. You're stuck between your old habits and this new way of doing things you've discovered, and it can be overwhelming. In this episode, Rachel and I dive deep into the humbling hills of horsemanship, those ups and downs that horses give us, whether we're ready for them or not. We talk about everything from the overwhelm of social media horse content to that clumsy feeling when you're trying to implement new techniques. We share some stories about our own learning experiences, and we keep it real about the challenges, the fear, and yes, the mistakes we've all made along the way. Whether you're a beginner horse owner, someone returning to horses as an adult, or you're just feeling stuck in your journey, this conversation is for you. We keep it fun, we keep it supportive, and most importantly, we remind you that we're all just figuring it out as we go. So settle in and let's navigate these humbling hills together. Enjoy the show. I thought that post very nicely told a story that reminded me of feelings that while you're walking around your house, that I would feel as a professional, but that I have seen like so many clients feel. I can only imagine you have felt it too, of kind of the paralyzing feeling where you know something is like bad, quote unquote. Shouldn't do that bad horsemanship thing that you used to do, but you don't really know what else to do, or you know what you should work, but you can't execute it. And I think it's really easy for someone who is not a full-time horse trainer, who's not like putting hours and hours and hours of their life every day into horses. I think it's a reason that a lot of people just kind of quit doing it. And when I say quit doing it, I mean quit. Maybe it means they quit horsing altogether, because I've seen that, but maybe it means they just quit doing things like going to competitions or doing this, doing that. They just kind of get paralyzed by the whole idea that like, oh, I've been doing this wrong and I have to learn all this new stuff, or I can't touch my horse, or I'm going to ruin him and I'm a bad person. So,
yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on this?
Yes, lots of thoughts, because there's girls like me, and boys too, people who grew up kind of casually doing horses, doing the weekly lesson and kind of obsessing over it, but never getting to own a horse until you're an adult. And that's me. And you think you know all this stuff, and then it finally happens and you're like, wait, what do I do? And then, and having social media too, and consuming a lot of horse social media, you're like, wait, is that what I'm supposed to look like? Is that what I should be doing? Wait, what I'm using is bad? And you get all this information in. It's hard. It is paralyzing, because it's like, oh, I'm trying to think of like a specific thing with Sunny.
Well,
I think even like with tack and bits and bridles and shoes and just your equipment and your tools, and you can watch people do things online and then go to do it. Just like in her post, you feel so clumsy, and then you feel like you're sticking out like a sore thumb because your horse is spooking at something it's seen 100,000 times. And then you're like, wait, am I bad at this?
Like, you kind of scratch, not you, well, some people will scratch the surface of like, oh, there's this other way of doing things different than I've been doing them for a whole lifetime, maybe in some people's cases, or in your case, you haven't really been out like practicing them with horses day in and day out. It was like you got horse opportunities when you got them, so it was kind of sporadic and you picked up knowledge as you went, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, yeah, go ahead, do it. Let's see.
Yeah.
I think this isn't you, but some people, they scratch the surface, they get a taste of that clumsy feeling when they're trying to do it different than they've been doing it, or they're trying to do it better and they're trying to be this person, and then they're like, this doesn't work.
Yeah.
And they move on, and it's like, okay, like I understand saying this doesn't work because I know that that comes from that fear of that clumsy feeling that they're feeling, you know? And I know myself, I probably couldn't, I don't know, I didn't have the, what's the word? Inner strength. I didn't have the inner strength to like get through that awkward feeling. You're so worried about feeling awkward that you can't learn and get better. That's probably the best way to put it. Until you kind of get, until you get somewhere else in your life and you're like, F it. I don't really care. Maybe that's what it is. I had to get to a certain age. That doesn't work for everybody, apparently. But I had to get to a certain age and just not care. I don't know. But in my last episode, I talked about opening Oasis. I mean, when I think back, probably the reason I opened it was because I was like too embarrassed to just say F it and do what I wanted in front of other people, you know?
Yeah.
Felt like I had to have my own place. And in some ways that was what had to happen. But could I have also just said, I'm just learning something new. What's the big deal? Yeah, I could have, you know, but that didn't feel possible at the time. Yeah, it didn't feel possible at the time. So I feel for people when they're in that spot of discovering something and maybe getting a tiny taste of something working, and they keep digging, and then it's like harder than they expect, and then they're done. So
I think
but that also really makes me appreciate the people who keep digging. You know.
The people who keep digging. And I do have to say what I really like too about, you know, I think, did she say it towards the end? Something about taking little bits and pieces of those successes and things that you try, and those work, but that whole approach doesn't work, but then a little bit from over here works and jives with you. And I think that that's also, as somebody who's new, is so important to find if you don't just happen to be friends with a horse trainer. You know, I'm lucky because I could be like, hey, what's with this? And you're like, yeah, don't worry about that. Or like, oh, hey, yeah, here, try this. Or just so many things instead of, you know, I'm not Google searching and trying to find solutions to things, because I think you'll see people succeeding with certain equipment, and that equipment might not be a good fit for you and your issue or challenge you're coming up with. And it is a lot harder to not just go, oh, but they're using it and they don't have those issues, so I'm just gonna use it. So it's nice having somebody to be like, you don't need that, just
Well,
trust me, you'll get there. And then seeing that work.
I do appreciate the kind words, and it's like I think there's two sides to the whole like take pieces of people's methods, and on one hand, yes, I think that's good because you can really learn some important things, and you don't have to. I don't have to agree with 100% of something that someone does. Obviously, there's certain scenarios where someone does something, I'm going to have to completely discount that opinion or whatever. But for the most part, I don't have to agree 100% with someone, and I can still learn something really, really valuable. On the other hand, when it comes to people seeking information, it's a little dangerous, I think, bouncing around and finding little bits, because it's, I can say from experience, definitely, it's really easy to judge something and like just assume that you see the whole picture when really you don't. And you don't know that you're not seeing the whole picture because you're like, you don't know you have the blinders on, you know? So you're like, yes, I see the whole picture. That is great. Or that's not great. Done. But there's always more to it. Is it the butterfly effect? Like is that what it's called? All the different things that are affected by every single little thing. If you don't, is that the right effect?
I think so. I think because you travel back in time and you step on a bug and it changes the future. That's like that's like the story.
Yes.
But like I think in conversation it is like, I read this one article and it changed the way I wanted to do this, but like that can be negative because you could be missing out on other stuff. But if you only absorb like that little trinket of blinder knowledge, you could be doing yourself a disservice
later.
in the future.
You have to fix something later. I know the longer I have gone on in the style of riding and horsemanship I do now, you just learn more and more things. You're like, oh, yeah, I did that. I put that in there. I didn't quite see this far out yet. Let me fix that. And then you do it different. You do it different in those steps after you've kind of been through that. That is the great thing about having someone you can ask and consult on things. Certainly, though, that can be dangerous because asking and consulting and just like taking someone's experience and opinion is their own form of blinders, right? I mean, it is, kind of. So, interesting. As always, the answer is always in the middle. You know what I mean? What do we have to do? We have to think critically and keep our eyes open and go, okay, I do need help. I should follow a program, or I should kind of stay on a consistent path, and not be afraid to zoom out and not be afraid to talk to those people that are helping you about other things. Like, I love if you see something online and you ask me about it, and sometimes it makes me laugh or makes me do an eye roll or something, maybe. I don't know. But I would like to think that you feel comfortable asking.
Yes.
And not everybody is good at that. Sometimes because their instructor is truly not open to it, and sometimes it's on them. Like, they think their instructor isn't willing to talk about something or whatever, and that can be a shame. Hopefully you never feel that way. You send me an anonymous email, please, if if something like this is going down. But yeah.
And I think another thing is that I think it's really easy, especially as a new horse person and having all of this information and then feeling really guilty. And I think there's this weird, what I didn't expect as a horse owner is all of the just ups and downs, good weeks, good days, bad days, so days. And I think just being able to take that in stride and go like, okay, what do I need to do today? Or what can I do that's fun? Or what do I need to work on? And just kind of let your horse humble you.
That up and down, the humbling, I think, is one of the gifts horses have to give us. Not that they're trying to humble us, but that up and down,
the humbling hills of horsemanship.
Well, we just titled the episode "Bam."
Yay!
The humbling hills of horsemanship. Okay, anyway. The humbling hills of horsemanship. are one of the gifts horses have to give us. And if you're not looking for that, if you don't see that as a gift, then there's other types of riding for those people,
Which is no riding.
No, they're the ones. It's the ones like what I used to do, where you show up and you make the horse go do the fucking thing. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those are not very humbling scenarios, because anytime it goes bad, it's your horse's fault.
Oh, that's true.
You either have a method that's more aggressive or more this or more that makes you win, and then you feel good.
True.
Or you don't, and you're pissed off, and it's your piece of shit horse's fault.
Yeah.
You still feel not good, but you're still like, I'm above it. You know what I mean?
I mean, I get that, because I think there's a lot of people who don't realize that, like, that's how they're horsing. And for me, I'll be like, I'm going to go see my horse today. And then I get him out, and it's like the best ever, and put him away. And then the next day I come and want to do the same thing. And he's like, no, we're not. And then just having to be like, oh, all right, well, that was fun. Or, like, there have been times where I show up and he's extra spooky, and I was like, this is not what I need today, so I'm just gonna leave. And I think I find a lot of peace in being that kind of a horse person, because I mean, like, I'm sure it would be different if I was competing. It's kind of nice to just kind of be like, well, not gonna do that. Or unless, like, I really wanted to and was gonna figure out my approach to do these things. But I think there's a lot of new horse owners and people leasing really getting into the thick of it. And having, like, set expectations of how they see themselves, how they want to see themselves, guilt of how they should see themselves, how they want others to see them. And it's hard, seeing everybody else. It's that constant comparison thing. And I think reaching a point to be like, oh well, all right. And then finding the joy in the things other people might not think are cool, that's still an accomplishment. You still showed up, saw your horse, and did something. And so that's been kind of a cool journey of finding peace, because I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna start riding dressage, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna see him every day, and it's gonna be perfect, and all of this stuff. And it's any relationship, you're gonna get to know each other and have disagreements, but it's just like, oh wait.
I do recall getting some messages from you the first day that you went to ride Sunny. Yes. When he moved.
I'm remembering it and being like,
I can definitely be the person who is overly cautious, some would say, or in this scenario, maybe I would do more groundwork than was necessary, some people would say, So I recognize that about myself, and I keep that in mind when I make decisions, because I can get a little too thorough when it comes to these things about being relaxed and not spooky and all this stuff in a new place, especially a horse that has just moved. For anybody who's listening, horse moved from one location that he's been for quite a while to a new location. And I know where you're at with your skills, and that you haven't been riding very much and all these things. And next thing you know, I get a text and you're like, I went to ride Sunny and it was a disaster, basically, is like the story I get. And I'm like, you went to ride Sunny? I don't know if I ever told you that, but that day I was like, you thought you were just gonna tack him up and crawl on? Like, that's impossible. It's not. But I just know that was not going to be her.
No, it's like the people who buy a hamster and they take it home, and the pet store people are like, okay, don't hold your hamster for like 5 days because it needs to acclimate to its new cage. And there will be the people who will try to hold it and it bites them. And you're like, what the heck? But it's the same, it's kind of the same thing. Like,
I mean, I never told you not to ride, but you didn't ask, and I don't know, I didn't think about it. You moved him, I didn't think about telling you what to do. I figured you'd ask if you wanted help.
I know.
No, you went to ride the damn horse.
And it was a disaster.
Yes.
And like, not his fault. I mean, I look back and I'm like, duh. Like, who does that? What kind of noob just does that?
And we're joking. We're joking. Don't judge yourself. Don't give
Oh,
up.
yeah, don't judge
play
yourself.
Horsemanship. We're just joking around.
We're just joking.
We're joking around about what it's like to live in the Horsemanship Hills. What did we say it was called?
It's true.
The Humbling Hills.
The humbling hills of horsemanship. And I think though, like, it is so nice because having, you know, you and others in the horse space being able to be like, this happened, and you be like nicely like, why did you do that? What did you learn?
How did I say, why the fuck did you try to get on your horse? How did I word that to you?
Right. And because, you know, yeah, I didn't know.
I thought he'd be fine.
I thought
he would appreciate all that I did for him at this move.
Right.
But he didn't.
He didn't.
That's what some people are gonna do.
Yeah.
No need to torture yourself like that, though. Your horse is just stressed out.
He was just a little stressed.
Just a little stressed.
I mean, I would be too. There were like not mountain bikes, like motorbikes, like chickens. I don't think he'd ever seen a sheep before. So, fair. Fair. The sheep was a little bit of a shock for him.
Yeah.
Can't
and if
say
I
I blame
remember
him.
correctly, tell me if this is true. Because in my mind, you just got him out and tacked him up. You hadn't even taken him across the property yet, right?
No. No.
Okay.
He hadn't seen like any of the property.
And again, I will say, it's not that I think it is bad or wrong to hop on your horse and go show them some property they've never been to. It's not. There is nothing wrong with that if you're not being an asshole about it.
Mm-mm.
But I just know it's not what you're prepared to do right this moment.
No. Not even now.
And no one needs to judge anybody.
No.
No matter which side of that equation you're on. Nobody needs to judge somebody for either needing to go walk their horse in hand to show them the property first, or for thinking they didn't need to and going, oh crap, I am definitely not getting on this animal today.
Yeah.
No judgment, it's all just funny, and we should all just laugh about it.
You should, because I feel like that's kind of what can make you a really good horse person, is effing around and finding out. Like, no judgment. I think it will tell you a lot of what you need to know about your horse, about yourself. Like, I'm sure there's people who have never been thrown off or bucked off or bit or kicked or any of the menagerie of things that can happen when you're an equestrian or just working with horses in general. And it's no judgment if you have or haven't, but the experience of finding that out for the first time can be quite jarring. And I luckily have, I think, I haven't experienced it all, but you know, as you get older and you have kids, you're a little bit more sensitive to meeting your end. And when things get spicy, even as an adult and your small pony, it can be kind of scary. And I don't think there's anything wrong with admitting that.
Admitting it and also going, did I just get all aggro on my horse because I got scared? At the time, when I look back, I was back in the day. I feel like when I would be
Not now.
aggressive,
You don't
I
get
don't
scared
make
now.
any mistakes now, and I never. Just for the record. Anyway,
Just for the record.
For the record, where was I?
Sorry.
Back in the day, if I was getting like tougher, if I was having to use some muscle with a horse, it would not have registered to me that I was scared. You know, like that's maybe not the right word to use, but knowing what I know now about my nervous system, I was definitely activated.
Mm-hmm.
If I didn't recognize it as scared, it was definitely something, and it was taking over the thinking side of things, and then it just turns into like muscling an animal around.
Yeah.
So anyway, well, I guess we should wrap it up. We've been
time has
blabbing
flown
for a while here, and you've got children to pick up, I see.
I
soon.
do. Yes.
So, thanks for chatting with me.
Thank you.
So anyway, until next time.
Until next time.
I hope you enjoyed the show. Visit TamaraLeeBarrett.com for more info and links to our socials. Remember to click follow or subscribe, rate the show, and share with a friend. Until next time, happy horsing.